Thank you guys for stopping by Ballistic Barbecue. On today's video, we're getting away from the norm. I'm going to be basically doing kind of a 2-year review on my experiences with freeze drying, what my opinions are, and I'm also going to be showing you and I guess more or less reviewing the new freeze dryer that I just bought. Let's get going. All right, I'm sure a few of you folks who have followed me a while know that I have a freeze dryer here at my house. I've done a couple videos sharing this with you, sharing my experiences with you. I'll answer the question for the rest of you right off the bat. Why do I have a freeze dryer? Small family of 3. I cook a lot of food because of my channel, and I vacuum seal and freeze a lot of it, but I just don't have enough room in the freezer for the rest. I mean, I give a lot to my neighbors. So I freeze dry a lot, and my experiences with the freeze dried foods have been amazing. I do a lot of backpacking, so I make my own backpacking food instead of eating crap. Basically, I'm out there eating brisket and pulled pork and chicken and stuff. I mean, some pretty good stuff. And also I live in an area where we have natural disasters. I mean, everything from earthquakes to fires, wildfires. And I just think that everyone, it's kind of their responsibility to be prepared, so you're not, begging the government for a block of cheese. I'd rather choose what I eat and make sure that myself and my family are all fed. I don't really need to say anything more. I've found that freeze drying has actually, it's surprisingly good compared to the stuff you buy, pre-packaged in the stores. The stuff I've been doing here, I've been really impressed. There's only one brand of freeze dryers that I know that kind of caters to the consumer. That's Harvest Right, and that's what I bought 2 years ago. And the machine I bought 2 years ago, although I love it, the one thing that kind of bummed me out a little bit is it was just a little too wide for the area I actually wanted to put it in my garage. So 2019, they came out with a new model, and it's about 3 inches, I want to say 3 inches narrower and 3 inches shallower, and it fits in the spot. And I talked my wife into letting me buy another one. One caveat is I have to sell the other freeze dryer, which I'm totally fine with. I am keeping, this is their oilless pump, and not only do you not have to maintain this by changing the oil out, it is really quiet. You can actually have conversations while this thing is running, and that was a huge selling point for this. So I've been very satisfied with the whole system. Anyway, let's take a look at my new freeze dryer. All right, as I said, my new 2019 Harvest Right freeze dryer. Very excited about using this thing. So as I said, it is a little narrower, is a little shallower. It'll fit in that spot that I want to put it, which I'm completely stoked about. But the nice thing is it has the same volume, 4 trays. The trays are the same size. And from what Harvest Right's documents say, this thing actually freeze dries 25% faster than my previous model, so I'm excited about that. Did I mention that I'm selling my previous model? That was one of the selling points to my wife as well, is I'm going to sell it, kind of recoup some of my expenditures here. So it's a win-win, right? Anyway, so what I'm going to do for this first video is I'm going to freeze dry these paper thin slices of ribeye, these caramelized onions, and a pound of shaved provolone cheese. What I'm going to do for you is freeze dry these, show you how I package things for storage, and then we're actually going to cook some of this up. We'll reconstitute these with water, cook them up, and I am going to actually make, this is going to make some people angry, Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. So we're going to take this outside and I'm going to griddle this up, make some cheesesteaks. So I'm excited about this. All right, let's go ahead and get all this food in the machine. We'll get it fired up. All right, so here's the rack where the trays go. Now above each tray of food is a heater, like a heating element. So basically what's happening here in this machine is it goes into a deep freeze. After everything's frozen rock solid, vacuum kicks on, and it actually takes it down to, I want to say, like 50 degrees below zero. Then the little heating elements come on while it's, again, still frozen and under vacuum, and it basically dehydrates the food, but it doesn't get like that freeze or burn. It's pretty amazing. Let's get back to loading it up. So this part's pretty darn easy, just sticking the shells in. Comes with this, which is basically an insulator. It's a cushion is what it is. Put that in there. Close the hatch. Switch on. See the display comes on. It's going to load up some memory here. And 9 out of 10 times what I do is I just hit start. Examples of liquid products are milk, raw eggs, soups, etc. Non-liquid. It's not frozen. So there's a drain valve on this thing that after you go through the defrost mode, after you're done with all the processing, it drains out all the liquids. So you need to make sure that valve is closed or it won't pull a vacuum. It's closed. And there we are. It was pretty darn easy. Now, my experience from my other machine is it's usually about a 20-hour process, but again, this is supposed to be 25% faster. So what's that, 15 hours, I guess? It's pretty darn cool. So guys, I will see you tomorrow after all this is freeze-dried, and then I'll show you the packaging. And we are back. It's the next day. Our freeze-dried food is freeze-dried. Let me show you the results here. So here's that ribeye, and yeah, it's pretty much like a cracker now. This is raw. What I will need to do is rehydrate this with water, and it'll only absorb the amount of water that it lost during the freeze-drying process, which is pretty cool. Then we have raw meat again that we'll be able to just cook. So this will be obviously the meat for the cheesesteak sandwich. Here's that provolone cheese, freeze-dried. Check this out. Just like sticks. Again, with this, I will be rehydrating it, and we're going to be melting that on the sandwich. And here are those onions, caramelized onions. And again, these things are just insanely good to eat just like this. I mean, so sweet, so crunchy. So I'm going to add these on top of the sandwich just as a topping, a crunchy topping. This stuff is really good on a salad, by the way. So let me show you how I would basically preserve these for long-term storage. So Harvest Right sells these Mylar bags, and these things are really heavy duty, and they have an area that you can write what is inside the bag. Obviously you can't see what's inside the bag and the date that it was packaged and everything. Simply put the food in the bag. Then very important is oxygen absorbers, and I usually throw a couple in here. If you're going to err on adding too many of these. This is going to suck all the oxygen out of the bag, and it's going to make this last a long time. I mean, again, usually 25 years is what your shelf life is going to be. Simply seal it. And there we are. Just very well sealed. This weld is not going anywhere. What I have are big plastic bins that I keep all these things in, kind of like a card catalog. I have all my proteins in one bin, fruits in one, vegetables, you get the picture. And yeah, backpacking, this stuff has changed my life. And I wish I had a bunch of brisket. I wish I could rehydrate and show you guys. But a buddy of mine went hunting a few months ago, and I gave him and his buddies a few bags of brisket to take on their hunting trip, and they were very grateful. Next part is going to be the cook. I'm going to cook this sandwich up, this again Philly cheesesteak sandwich, 2 days from now. So I'm going to finish packaging up all this food here. I will see you in a couple days. We're going to cook up a sandwich. You're going to be shocked at how fresh this sandwich is going to look. See you guys then. So is the world ready for a freeze-dried Philly cheesesteak sandwich? And Philly, are you guys ready for this? So it's been a couple days since I packaged up the meat, the cheese, and the onions, and now we're ready to do some rehydration. I'm going to start out with the cheese. And again, this is shredded provolone, and I've just found that the shredded cheese rehydrates much better than slices when it comes to, the freeze-dried stuff. So I'll add some water, and it will soften up. It'll get a lot softer than it is now. It will melt. You'll see it will melt. And now for the meat. Now I ran like a test run with the meat and the cheese the day that I pulled it out of the freeze dryer, and this thinly sliced meat rehydrates very, very quickly and amazingly fresh. I mean, if I would have served it to any of you guys without telling you that it was freeze dried, you wouldn't know. It's really amazing. So lessons learned: the thin slices of meat really, really rehydrate well when it comes to raw meat. Same thing. We just add some water. And really, putting meat on just a plate and covering it with water is good enough. But look at this. I mean, literally seconds. And look at that. I mean, the color, the texture, it's amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow the cheese to rehydrate probably 15 minutes. I mean, the meat's ready to go now. I'll give it another 5. I'll pull the meat out of the dish here and blot it dry, and then I'm simply going to strain the cheese. Okay, for this cook today, I'm using my kettle, and I have the Mojo griddle on top. Hit it with a little canola oil. Let's get to cooking here. Season this with a little bit of kosher salt, a little black pepper. Now on top of the meat, I'm going to add some of those onions, some of those freeze-dried caramelized onions. Again, I did not rehydrate these. The juices from the meat are going to rehydrate some of these onions. Some of the steam's going to rehydrate it, but there's also going to be some nice crunchy elements going on there. And again, these things are like candy. They're really good. So I'll add some of that cheese. Again, all I did was strain this. It's still, kind of wet. Going to hit it with some water, dome it. Looks good. All right, let's make a sandwich. It's looking good. Check that out. Freeze-dried Philly cheesesteak sandwich. I think it looks pretty good. Smells insane. I think we're ready to try this bad boy out. Come on, guys. Philly, give me a break here. It's freeze-dried. Where are you going to find this in Philadelphia? Look at that. See? The cheese melts. I mean, that is insane. This was all freeze-dried. All right. The one thing that really has my brain working overtime right now are those onions. And I'm honestly thinking I still have a lot of these onions left. I'm going to grind some up into a powder form and come up with some really good, like a burger seasoning. I mean, these are really, really good. It's good. Wow. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. I did. Thank you guys for stopping by. Again, thanks for the suggestions. If you are interested in exploring the world of freeze drying, I have other videos I've made. I have a playlist, but also have a link down below for Harvest Friday if you want to check them out. Good company, and again, I really have a lot of fun with that machine. So I'm probably, as spring and summer arrive, I'll probably give you guys a few more freeze-dried stuff if you want to see it. Again, one of the things that I really want to start making videos on is utilizing the stuff I freeze-dry into, you know, seasonings. Like I said, those onions right now, my brain's working overtime, and I honestly, as soon as these cameras go off and I get everything put away, I'm going to start making a burger seasoning. Thanks for stopping by. See you in the next video. Cheers.